So Sonic Frontiers has gone gold and the game is getting ready to be shipped out all over the world. It's going to be a really interesting time period because I'm interested to see if this game ends up leaking or not. And it's going to make things really difficult for people who are trying to avoid gameplay spoilers, even story spoilers. But all in all, we're still getting new information despite the game going gold, and despite the game may potentially being leaked, they're still putting out stuff normally, of course. But I want to talk about a gameplay mechanic or gameplay thing that has to do with Frontiers that we just learned about recently, because I think it's pretty interesting and kind of changes how we can view this game and why this game might actually be up to 20 to 30 hours of playtime total. But before we hop into that, hey, I see you there. You guys keep coming back. I see you. Since you keep on coming back, why don't you guys hit the subscribe button and help us reach our goal of reaching 20K as soon as possible. So some new information was discovered by a Twitter user named Willowed Sage. They posted 2 images that come from GPF as well. So shout out to GPF and Willowed Sage for bringing this to attention. But back on Kronos Island, the first image says, "You are not ready. Return when the time is right." And the second image says, "Access denied. This is currently locked. Continue with the main story and try again later." And this is a literal confirmation that you have to return to different islands later on in the game. And this is kind of big news because a lot of people were speculating that you can beat Kronos Island in about 35 minutes because people have speed ran through the game already at EGX. But it turns out we may just be revisiting islands, and we're not going to blow through all of the content on each island through one run. Probably going to get sent to the next island, do what you need to do there, and then come back to the first island on Kronos to continue main story quests, which I think makes perfect sense. So that means we've been all kind of thinking about the game wrong a little bit, kind of assuming that once you move on to the next island, you're just done with the first island. Which, I mean, thinking about it, that would be kind of silly. There are these big open areas with tons of stuff to do, and if you only had a one run through, I think that'd be kind of lame. So it's kind of interesting that there's segmented content throughout the world, and I think this is actually a good idea. Also, scrolling under these tweets, someone pointed out there's a massive building that we have not even seen yet in Kronos Island. So there's still more content on Kronos Island that we just haven't seen. There's another screenshot that they posted, and it comes from DeathProj. And it shows a huge chunk of Kronos Island that has not even been seen yet. So to write the islands off to be completed in 35 minutes, I think would be a bit ludicrous. Maybe if you're a speedrunner and you speedrun it, yeah, I guess the first island visit, then sure. But it's probably likely that it's not going to be the entirety of the story content on Kronos Island. And even so, why would you just want to speedrun through all of the main content when there's tons of stuff to do? I think just going around experiencing the game and enjoying the content it has to offer is probably the more fun way to do it if you're not a speedrunner especially. And I still don't fully understand why they wanted to segment all of the islands off. But when you look at it this way, this is all one big world when you combine them together. Because usually when people compare maps of open world games, even if there is segmented areas, you combine all of them together as one. And that's the total map size. So I'll be interested to see people combine all of the islands together map wise and combine the entire size and just measure it. And see how big Frontiers really is with all the islands combined. But I think this is some big news that there's going to be island revisits, and now it makes a lot more sense why a first playthrough can be 20 to 30 hours long if you're going to be going back to stuff. Now we just have to hope that the content progresses. And one thing that I was worried about was the enemies. If you're going back to old islands, then the enemies would suck. But apparently all of the enemies in the world scale to Sonic's level, so they all get stronger. It's kind of similar to Breath of the Wild with the moblins. They actually change colors and whatnot to signify that they're stronger than the last ones, and they kind of populate the area as you get stronger. So it's kind of a good thing that they have that, because revisiting old islands would get kind of stale with enemies. So that's a big W for Sega for paying attention to scaling of enemies. But overall, I'm happy to see this because I was a little shocked to see people quote-unquote beat Kronos Island in 35 minutes, but obviously there's going to be more. The game doesn't have to follow the same repetitive structure of do the thing, beat the Titan, next island, and repeat 4 more times. I think it would have to be necessary to change things up to make the pace of the game more fun and less repetitive. Because if it was strictly that back to back, then I think, yeah, the formula would get old pretty quickly. So island revisits with new content that aren't necessarily related to the Titans, I think can really change things up for this game. And obviously there's story reasons why things like this could happen, or, you know, just specific cutscenes that need to be triggered or moments. There's tons of reasons why they're doing something like this. But I just wanted to share my thoughts on this because I think this is a good idea, and I am happy that they're having island revisits because I don't want to speed through the island once and just look back and be like, dang, that's it. But what are your guys' thoughts in the comments below? And if you enjoyed this video, make sure you hit the subscribe button, and like always, I'll see you in the next one.
Well, whatever happens, happens.